All right, is that better? Mike?
Glorious.
Perfect. Thanks for the shout out. Without further ado, here's Christian. We'll wait about 30 more seconds so everyone gets privileges and then go from there.
Hello, everybody. Couple of hands raised already.
I know. They're excited to talk to you, Christian. All right, let's start off. Ashley Mahoney, go ahead and take it away.
Christian, appreciate you carving out time for us today. It's certainly been a minute. I know that international breaks can sometimes feel like a lifetime. Were you still here in Charlotte, or did you have the opportunity to kind of get away with your family during the interim?
It feels like a lifetime for you guys. It passed like this. It passed like nothing. I wish it was double the amount. Yeah, I was home in New York with my kids, family, doing some school runs, being a normal dad, which felt really good. And it was also time to get your head off football and just think about nothing, just do regular family life.
And speaking of the thing that certainly takes up a great deal of mental space, a week ago, Ramirez was sacked. What was your, you've of course experienced a number of managerial changes. They're part of the nature of football, but have you ever experienced a managerial change like this?
It's just another manager change. There are, of course, people are disappointed. Some are more, some are less. But for me, it was overall a disappointment in terms of him not being able to really connect with us. I think that was one of the main reasons. You have a great group of players here that really give everything, that are trying hard, that really are committed to the club. And I think there was a little bit of players not really buying into or what he's trying to achieve. And it got them a little bit, how to say that, frustrated or insecure. Insecure, I think is the right word. But then also not being able to perform on a level where we could. I think at this stage where we are right now, we had some great results, absolutely. But I think overall, with the team that we have, with the players that we have, and the spirit that we have in the team, we clearly underperformed. I'm not sure how you can be happy with 5 wins in 13 games when you know, of me personally, when I know what players we have. I think we have top players here, players that are willing to learn, players that are always giving the best, which no matter on which stage you are in your career, they're all trying their very hardest to be a part of the team and be a part of the success. And that was kind of frustrating, I think, in the first period of the season. But we're looking forward now to what's coming next. We have a great coach now with Christian Latanzio, who has vast experience for decades already, I would like to say, because I mean, he won the Premier League with Mancini, with Man City. There's nothing else I think I need to add. He is also very committed to the club. He could have gone with, I think, with Patrick Vieira to Crystal Palace, decided to be a part of this new club here, this new venture, and I think that shows how committed he is to the club to bring us forward.
And a quick follow-up to that, if I may. Christian obviously arrived here in Charlotte prior to Miguel, had an opportunity to work with Dan Locke and Mark Nichols and really kind of engage with the academy early on. And today in training, it seemed like there were more young academy players in there, and something that Miguel had voiced his frustrations, concerns, call it what you will, about was where the academy was at after having kind of a head start on the first team. Is that something you noticed today, of just seeing more young guys having more of an opportunity, more of a nurturing space to grow and make that transition, if you will?
Well, I think some criticism is fine, but other criticism is simply misplaced, to be honest. This is a club, the academy had I think a 1-year head start. That's nothing. That's nothing. You cannot expect being on the very highest level on every level of the club just after 1 year or 1.5 years, whatever it is right now. I had and I think that's interesting for you to have a little bit of background with Christian Latanzio. I had a call with him and my academy coaches because I really love how Christian sees the development of young players or players overall. The player for him is in the center of everything. So for him, player development comes first, which then creates a great atmosphere and helps the team progress as well. So if the player feels valued, if the player feels like that there's somebody that wants to improve him, they are willing to give more. And with Christian Latanzio, Andy, we have some good experienced coaches here that can really take us further.
Do you foresee Latanzio could be a permanent solution for the club going forward, not just as the interim through the end of 2022?
That's not in my hands.
Thank you, Christian.
All right, Mr. Carboni.
Christian, thanks for your time this morning. With the kind of dynamic between players and coach that you described in your first response, do you think that kind of, conflict or any fracture had, an effect on you guys on the pitch? And what was it like returning today? That is a week old. You have a new coach guiding training and a game in a couple of days. What's kind of the mood now?
I mean, if you go to work, you love to go there, that means that something is being done right. That there's a great environment, you love to go there, you enjoy your time there. I don't want to say this has not been the case, but for most parts, it was not the easiest. It was a place within the locker room, within the players, where it was great, but there was certain fractures between us and the coaching staff. I think it's normal that you agree on certain things, you disagree on certain things. We always try to help bring the club forward, because in my eyes, it needs to be a giving and taking from both parties, because we all care about how we perform on the field. Doesn't matter who has what ideas. At the end, we have to come together to perform, give our best on the field to be successful. I think this was not always the case, that players have been hurt. Interesting enough, I couldn't train today. My ankle is still bothering me. So I'm still trying to come back onto the pitch. But I had the time to look at faces. I had the time to look at the players, at the non-verbal communication. And it was very interesting to see how, I would say, with how much relief players were approaching the training, with a lot of smiles. But then also when it was time to train, how players, and you guys have not been there anymore when we did tournaments, with how much intensity they were training. And that was great to see. They had to go at each other, because today the preparation started, and we want to make sure that we are very, very competitive against Red Bull. Because we on the road, obviously we didn't get the result we wanted, but now it's in the Bank of America Stadium, and I hope we are ready by the weekend.
All right, we have Tom.
Thanks, Woody. Thanks for taking the time, Christian. I have to kind of follow up on some of the comments that you've given. Is there any, I guess, specifics or any details that you can give or allude to about the nature of the fractures between the players and the coaching staff?
See, I don't think it's fair to speak down on somebody that cannot defend himself. I mean, you get the sense, you get the understanding. Going into details is not fair. I only have 10 minutes left, so that's also another issue. So no, I don't want to go into details.
And then I guess, so for your own side of things, what was your relationship like with Ramirez and the previous coaching staff?
Very interesting one. A very interesting one. it was not easy, really not easy. I really was. I met with him end of last year when I played for the Independents, and he presented his philosophy to me, and I thought, oh, that will be interesting to see how we can do these things in a positive way. But like I said before, it's always a listening feedback for everybody involved. And the issue was when you try to address a problem, or it can be football related, can be non-football related. Most of the times, unfortunately, the door was shut, and that didn't feel good. I tried hard to be a communicator between him and the team, but certain times it just felt too much, and it was discouraging. So again, it was an interesting one. I really tried to push it forward, because we believe that, okay, if we get this philosophy right, if you get all the players to buy in, it could be something good. But within the philosophy, unfortunately, we had too many changes from game to game. Again, I don't want to go into too many details, but it didn't really reflect what we were told at the beginning of the season, how we would approach the season.
Thank you.
All right, Sam.
Sam's soccer sheet. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Hey, danke Christian, alles gut im Urlaub.
Danke vielmals, war sehr gut.
So I know somebody else is going to ask about and keep on asking about the drama. So I want to talk about going forward. How do you see the team going forward from this? How do you see it working with Christian and everybody else? How can we, expect the team to go forward? And do you still think that Charlotte FC is going to be a playoff team this year?
What the team needs is confidence. Confidence, especially away from home. We have our fans in the Bank of America Stadium, which makes us move mountains. So we are very confident there. But for us to be a playoff contender, you need to get those points away from home. And again, I'm referring back to Christian Ladancio. He has been working in the background a lot individually with players, trying to help them better their game with video analysis on the field, then work with Mackenzie, for example, who showed tremendous improvement. Brand Bronico, I mean, I think he spent hours with Christian Latanzio just on the screen, adjusting his positioning and his understanding of the game. So if we can get it right, and again, we have a new coach, yes. The benefit that we have is that this coach was with us now and knows us very well, each individual player for a couple of months now. But things will change the way we want to play. So those changes might not be effective right away. But again, what I've seen today is with the desire that the players trained, with how they had to go with each other, how emotional it was out there, emotional in a good way, how competitive it was out there. I think there's something really good happening right now, and I'm honestly, I might or might not be able to play on the weekend, but whoever is going to be out there is going to kick some ass.
That's great to hear. Thank you for the time there. Just one quick follow-up.
Kein Problem, gerne. Jederzeit.
Einmal Frage. So with the reports this week, I'm glad to hear about the team going forward. It has definitely been a struggle for the fan base. We saw Miguel's goodbye message to Charlotte and the players. How do we or how does the team address the fans, and how do the players address? What would your message be to the fan base on how we're going to move forward?
Well, I think it's very simple. We are here to represent our colors. We're here to give everything for Charlotte. There has not been one player that is letting themselves down. I mean, changing coach, which I had probably 18, 19, 20 of them in my career, one time even 4 in one season at Schalke, is always a new opportunity for everybody. Players that have not had the chance to, or as many chances to play before, might be starters now. So it's a complete, I wouldn't say a complete reset, but it's a reset, especially for the mindset of many players, to show the new coach, okay, you need to put me in the starting 11. And that could excel the whole team to go to another level. So again, like I said before, we're here to represent our colors. We're here to make our fans proud. We are proud of how they support us also away from home, which is incredible. I mean, those trips in the US are insane. And we are trying our very best to be a playoff candidate. Absolutely. Again, I think we underperformed with how we played so far. We had a couple of games that we should have won in my eyes, where we would need to be more rigid and see the game out. But the potential, I think we all saw that, and I think we all can agree on that. What the team has shown is very promising. Now let's try to get this team together and make it also successful the way I expected from my team.
Okay. Field.
All right, we'll do a couple more. Let's go, Jorge.
Hey, Christian. So
Top
you
90. Here we go.
good to see you.
Good to see you.
You mentioned a lot about feeling like the team has underperformed. Would you say that the team was performing in spite of Miguel being the coach, or was he actually improving anything?
So that's a good question. For me, the team performed because, first of all, we have great characters, players that wear a good head on their shoulders, plus I'm missing the word now. Sorry, guys. Plus, you had this. You need to help me, guys. You can help. You can help me out with that. When something new. It was just the whole excitement of being a part of a new franchise, right? I think this goes a long way. The problem is then when this wears off, where does the team stand? Who are then the real characters to show and perform, no matter if it's good, bad, or raining or the sun is shining? And I see everybody on that field working their behinds off. If it works out or not is a different story, but I cannot point at anybody to say you did not want to play today, you did not want to perform today or give your best today. So the basis is there. And again, it's coming back to good players with a good head on their shoulders.
So your sense is that like there's an overall like pressure lifted off the players, is what you're saying?
That's what you're saying.
Well, I'm asking you. So you talked about the cultural fractures between players and the coaching staff. Would you say that's most of the players, half of the players, a third of the players? What's your sense?
Culturals. I just, for me personally, I was used to a different approach. That doesn't mean the approach is the right one, okay? Everybody has their own style. But I think it's so important, especially with a young group that we have. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, but to address the players. To use a loss in your benefit, to have a post-match analysis, to look at what did we do well, what did we do not so well. That's how you improve a team. That's how you improve a team, even if it's not as young as ours. That's just the process. And that was that was not existing.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to more of that now.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you.
We'll do 2 more. We'll go Varun and then Steve Goldberg to end it.
Give me some tricky questions.
Hey, Christian, thank you so much for doing this. Varun Shankar, Charlotte Observer. I wanted to ask, you've had one practice with Christian leading. What are the biggest differences you're seeing between a Ramirez practice and a Latanzio practice?
The intensity. The intensity. I think that was mentioned previous in articles that I read that we lacked intensity in training. We did a lot of tactical work, but in this league, the way I experiencing now as well, I also didn't know, you need to be fit. You need to be able to run 90, 95, 100 minutes under scorching temperatures out there on turf, which is an extra a bonus for every player. So you really need to run, be able to run. And I think fitness-wise, I think we're at a good stage now, getting the fitness through the games, through the weeks. But I think the training structure, the training built through the season leading up to the games missed intensity. You see, again, I'm coming back to what I said before, players having a go today on a Tuesday at each other because they want to win. This desire of okay, it's a 5v5 tournament, but hey, I want to win this. It's for the pride. And maybe it helps us then also moving forward to be able to start the game stronger. Because there's a quote from Brendan Rodgers. He said, great teams start the game strong and finish them strong. And that's down to fitness. That's down to desire. And unfortunately, we had a couple of games where we considered early that, which might also be a reason due to the training build that we had so far.
You say that you guys were doing a lot of tactical work, but earlier you were talking about how you guys didn't do a lot of post-match analysis. So what was the tactical work that was being done?
Always tailored to the game moving forward.
Did you feel like that constant adjustment of game plans hurt the team at times?
It was confusing.
Interesting. And then there were rumors that players on the team said they wouldn't return from the international break if Ramirez remained the head coach. Can you comment on that and what the state of the team is now?
So the rumors can be right or wrong. In that case, they are wrong. I mean, I spoke to a lot of players throughout the weeks, and they all love to be here. It's a really, honestly, it's a really good group of players that like to be together, that like to work hard together, and that like to be successful together.
We'll end it with Steve.
Hey, Christian, good to see you. I like the photo of you and your son in the Rangers jerseys. Glad that, probably a good idea that you didn't post that when they were playing the Hurricanes. But
Yeah,
wanted to ask you.
I had to be a little quiet that day when I was there. It was a tough one.
Yeah, I thought it was strategic, the timing on that. When, in regards to the intensity that you speak about, in every championship team that I've ever covered, it was almost unanimous that they said that the practices were so hard that the game seemed easy. Is that what you're referring to here? And I mean, and how does that compare to your championship run at Leicester? I mean, was that a similar situation?
You're spot on. I mean, it's cliche, but it's the only truth is the way you perform on the weekend is a result of your training during the week. You win the games by the way you train, and it started today. What I saw today was very, I was watching, but I was smiling because it really reminded me of the time in England. That's the way we trained there, with intensity, with lots of games, competitive setup, and players really having a go at each other. That's what you need. That's what you need. You need this competitive aspect in every training, and that's the way forward. That's what Christian Latanzio brings in now, because he had this experience in those major leagues for years, having worked again with great coaches, and which makes me again even more positive looking forward, because if you give this team this spark, there's a lot we can look forward to for the rest of the season.
Okay, and just to clarify, you said you had a call with Latanzio back. Was that in regards to when he was at NYCFC with Vieira and you had the Fuchs Academy?
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Or
Okay.
3 weeks
Did-
ago, something like that. I don't remember exactly. Right.
Did you know him when, through the New York connection when he was with NYCFC?
No, I don't. No, I don't. But to me, he's very inspiring. I want to do my coaching. I'm just doing my A license. And to me, he's very inspiring by his approach of how he's training, how he thinks about the game, how he thinks about player development. And this is something that I definitely want to learn more from him because it just can help me for my future aspirations.
Is that a US A license or a UEFA A license?
I'm doing it with the FA in England.
Okay. And with that, and in going back to the communication aspects that you were talking about, in your position as captain, were players coming to you and expressing these frustrations to relay them to Coach Ramirez, and then that door wasn't open for you to relay that? Or, I mean, because a coach, a manager, and his captain should always have, an open door policy. Was that not the case?
It built up through time. So it was not immediately. At the beginning, it was jokes here and there, right? But sooner rather than later, they turned out to be more serious concerns. Some weighed more, some less. But I did not get the sense of Miguel to be willing to address them rather than to brush them off and not wanting to deal with them. And I just, at some point, I just kept those conversations to myself and tried to help those players move forward and get a different view of it, and used my experience of how I dealt with similar situations, which I think helped them, and they were thankful. But at some point, I didn't have the feeling to be able to go to him to have an impact on the player's performance.
Okay. And the last one, just looking forward, you played Red Bull.
Taking a liberty now, huh? 2 questions per person. That's fine. Go ahead.
No, I'm using seniority here. You played Red Bull, previously. It was a game that got very physical, very chippy, and, and a little bit contentious at times. Do you feel that having played them there gives you an advantage going into this one? And is there any residual, payback that, some of the guys, want to feel for this game?
I would say payback is when you play Atlanta and you lose away and you win at home. That's always a nice payback. With Red Bull, I mean, having played them and feeling how it is on the field rather than only on video is definitely a good lesson for us that we can use for this game on Saturday. But now with video analysis and all that, we will really be able to focus a lot on how they play and figure out their playing style. Again, today, when you guys need to leave the stadium, we started on an offensive approach, how we want to approach attacking, and it worked really well. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. But I don't have a feeling for revenge, not at all, because for me, as much as I believe in the team, we will be, because we're the newcomers, we will be an underdog in every game. And I love to be in this situation because that's how I want the Premier League.
Thank you, Obi-Wan.
All right, we'll end it there, guys.